Good morning. Welcome to Vlogtober, day 12. What a glorious day. 9:45 a.m. Rather late for breakfast, but I've been up a while. I like to have my cup of tea and my lemon water and sit and just wake up really slowly in the mornings. And then I did 15 minutes of yoga with Maylie Morrison. So my porridge is just about ready and I'm going to eat that in a minute. I just wanted to show you this sweater that I made a while back. I call it a hybrid because it's made from 3 different kinds of buffalo plaid that were scraps, and I had to really cut carefully to get the pieces all cut out from what I had, but I love it so much. I've made this pattern a lot now and it's so comfortable and cozy, and you know, with my hair being so short right now, the hood is a really good idea. I don't have any specific plans for today. I could go out somewhere this morning if I needed to, but I have to be home this afternoon. We recently had a new furnace and heat pump put in, and so in order to apply for the grant, we had to have an auditor come. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but this guy came and he opened the front door, blocked it off with a guard, and put up and hooked up a machine to it and worked out how many air exchanges there were per minute, per hour. I don't know exactly. So what they do then is they wait till you've then had the work done and then they come back and check it again. So today is the follow-up appointment. It's a little bit annoying that there's about a $1,300 fee for getting this done. And I know he has to be paid for his time. However, when you think about it, the people who need the grants the most for upgrading their homes to be more efficient probably can't afford to even apply for the grant, because it's $1,300 to maybe get some money back on what you spent out. And it was a huge investment. The furnace we had was coming to the end of its expected life. It was still working, but because we were getting the heat pump, it was recommended that we got the new furnace as well. I know a lot of people can manage with just a heat pump for the heating and cooling, but where we are, it gets below -7, I think, is pretty much the efficiency limit of a heat pump. So once it gets below -7, you really need a furnace as backup for your heating. So on the coast, they could probably manage with that. But where we are, we need to have the extra boost, because we've had it down to -30 here since we've been living here. We've been here since '94, and it's not a normal thing for it to get to -30, but it's often enough below -7 that we know we're going to need the furnace. So while I'm eating my breakfast, I'm going to go through some cookbooks for inspiration. When I was working, I used to make roughly a weekly meal plan. I would sit down, I would make a list of meal ideas, and I would schedule them according to what my shifts were in the week. So it would be easier meals on work days, or maybe a meal that you could stick in the slow cooker in the morning and have at dinner time, and that was easy to prepare ahead. At the moment, I'm not working, so I just make a list of about 15 meals. And in the morning, I will think, okay, we'll have that today. I've got the ingredients for that handy, and we will have that for dinner. And I've been writing it on a little whiteboard on the fridge, and that seems to be working well. So as I don't have any pressing engagements today, I'm going to make a nice long list of meals, and along with the meal plan ideas, I will be making a shopping list so that I know what to get when I go to the supermarket. I spent an enjoyable couple of hours sitting on the couch with my crochet. Unfortunately, thanks to my, shall we say, advanced age, I've been blowing hot and cold. I had to take that hoodie off that I was wearing this morning because I was far too hot in it. So rather than put the sweater on, take it off, put it on, take it off, I'm just throwing the shawl on when I get a little cool and throwing it off again when I get too hot. This is one of my favorite wraps, actually. This is a shawl or wrap that I knitted years ago. Oh, it'll be on my Ravelry project page. If you ever want to check my projects out on Ravelry, I'm Nicolaknits, and I've put up over 800 since I've been on there. But this, I think it was a whole bunch of DK yarn, probably mostly Stylecraft Special DK, maybe some Deramore's Studio. But unlike me, I chose muted colours, ones that were soft and subtle and just look lovely together. It's just a big garter stitch rectangle, but then I crocheted some granny squares to put on the end. And then because there were so many ends, I was not going to weave them all in. I always find that if you weave ends into garter stitch, well, it's a two-sided thing, right? You just don't want all that weird bulky stuff with bits sticking out along the edge. So I just let the ends be a fringe and knotted them across. And you know what? It's worked out. It looks lovely. It's a nice weight. And I don't need it right now because it's warm in here. The sun is shining and keeping the room nice and warm. We haven't really needed the heat yet, and it's middle of October. Some years I've had a little competition with myself to see if we can keep the heat off until the end of the month, but we don't usually last that long. So I've been watching some yarn podcasts and some sewing tutorial videos on my TV today while I've been on the couch. I got to the point where I felt like I should get off the couch. So I'm going to stop here for the day, but I've added 11 more stripes to my bag. Because I'm working the last stitch of the round into the first stitch of the round, so there's not a gap in the color, the join is really slanting up the side of the bag, but that doesn't matter. If you haven't been following me for a while, you won't know about the flowers that I intend to attach. So these little puffy flowers, I made 24 of them. There was a tutorial came up at just the right time by Hooked by Robin, and she had these on her YouTube channel, and I thought, I've got all of these cute little 20-gram Skate Pierce Soft Fun balls from a homemade advent I did for myself last year. And so I made a flower and a center out of each of the colors. And now I'm doing this bag. And what will happen is when I have finished making the bag, I can attach some of the flowers to it. And I think they'll look really cute. I won't fit 24 flowers on this, so I will have to come up with another project afterwards. Kind of want a headband. As my hair grows out from this buzz cut, it's probably going to look a little wild. It's really curly, believe it or not. And I'm not sure what it's going to look like as it grows out. And I was thinking that maybe a headband or two might be a good plan. Not that I've ever looked good with headbands on. But hey, by the time it grows out, I'll be used to seeing all this forehead and having my face really exposed and not having any height where I'm used to having hair. So maybe headbands won't look so weird now. I don't know. Worth a try. I've been watching Ross of Smells Like Yarn. He's had a podcast going for years and I've been following him for a long time. And I don't know if you've ever watched his podcast, but he has he has more than two hobbies. He has multiple hobbies, one of which is yarn collecting. You know how all those memes that come around social media say that there's yarn collecting and knitting, or yarn collecting and crocheting. It's different hobbies, right? Well, I try not to collect too much. I do try and keep the stash to a manageable level, but he has definitely reached Sable. Stash acquisition beyond life expectancy. When he's filming, you can see his whole wall of yarn behind him. He's got like a whole wall of cubbies, and he's got a basement full of it as well. I'm sort of a little bit envious, but sort of not, because I know that if I did that, I would find it a pressure. I would get to the point where I wanted to give it all away because it was kind of pressurizing me to make more, use me. And so, and I get tired, right? I get tired of the stash. And every now and again, I need to pull some yarn out and make something multi-stranded with it just to use it and get it out of the way, because I'm fed up with seeing it. I feel a little bit like that right now. These little balls of cotton acrylic are fun and I'm happy with these. And my scarf project, I'm enjoying that because the yarn is really pretty and there's just one cake of it. But I have a massive bag downstairs of DK yarn, mostly Stylecraft Special DK. And some of it I have wound up into cakes on my little yarn winder. So I've got it grouped by color. And every now and again I think, oh, maybe I'll make a blanket or a sweater with multiple strands of yarn. I did make a cardigan a year or two ago with 5 strands of DK because patchwork cardigans were kind of a trend with the Harry Styles one. I made this really large, chunky cardigan, different squares of color, massively long sleeves, far too long because, of course, I wasn't allowing for the fact that the weight was going to pull them longer. I love it. It's not very practical, though. And if I make anything else out of multiple strands of DK, it might be crochet because I love big hooks and things that grow really fast. This DK yarn and single crochet is slow going, and it's just the colors that are keeping me going right now. If it was a plain color, I think I'd be wanting to scream. I would not do it in a solid color, but it looks kind of cute and I really love these flowers. You could make a pin. So I just had a call from my husband. He's on his way home from work, and that means that he will be here for when that guy comes to do our air exchange audit, which is nice. And maybe I'll see if I can film what this guy is doing a little bit without him being bothered by it. If he's got his back turned, I might do a little bit of video, show you what he's doing. But for now, I'm going to put down the crochet and do something a bit more active. I'll talk to you later. I spent a few minutes making these stitch markers or progress keepers. They won't work for knitting needles, but they'll work for crochet or for keeping track of your progress in a knitted or crocheted project. I don't know why I don't do more beading. It's always fun. Well, I was indoors all day, so after dinner I decided I needed to come out for a walk. It was only about half an hour, and it was on my own because my husband went to a fitness class earlier, so he probably wouldn't have been willing to come with me. While I've been walking, the sun has set. I did see a few deer, but unfortunately I couldn't get any film of them. The light was really bad, and this guy was chasing them off his lawn. I love to see the deer. I don't chase them away. I just came across a lady walking her dog. She must have thought I was a little bit crazy. Anywho, it's the end of the day, almost, and I'll sign off here. Day 12, I think, comes to an end, and I'll be happy to see you again tomorrow.